Hey, Sandy, I just wanted to let you know that I got the package that you sent me. These fruits are just lovely. And the basket is great, too. This must have cost a fortune. You didn't have to go and spend all that money on me.
I really didn't even pay much for it, though. So many of my neighbors grow their own foods, and most of that was just gifts from them. I gave them all a little bit of money as a way of saying thanks, but the basket really cost much less than you might think.
Well, still, thank you so much. It really is a thoughtful gift. I'll have to think of how to get through all of this before it goes bad.
I really hope I didn't go overboard with all that I gave you. I'm sure that there's enough people in the house that'll all get eaten, right?
Yes, I think this should be plenty to last us a while. And since your brother and his wife are here living with us, I'm sure we'll have no problem eating all of this fruit.
Well, as long as you think that everyone will enjoy it, that's all that matters. By the way, they've already been living there for about 2 months, right? How's that going?
It's going quite well, thank you. At first there were some bumps along the way, but I think we've settled into a good routine now.
Well, that's good to hear. But still, I bet you must have been surprised when Gary asked to live with you all of a sudden. You didn't have to say yes to him, you know.
Well, I didn't really have a reason to say no. Besides, Gary assured me that it would just be a temporary thing.
Did he really say that to you, Mom?
Yes, he said that he wanted to save up money to buy a house, and that it would be much easier to do so if they lived with me for a while.
I see. Well, I sure hope he's right about that. But I just hope that you remember you're allowed to say when enough is enough. You seem to be enjoying living alone after Dad passed away.
There was a lot of joy out of living alone for the first time in a few decades, yes. But it is just so nice to have my son and his wife over, and I've been enjoying the company. And I think many of my neighbors are relieved to know that I'm living with someone again, just in case anything were to happen to me.
Yeah, I suppose that is a good point as well. To be honest, I was a little worried about you living all on your own as well. I just hope that Gary really meant what he said. Sometimes I worry that he's just being a cheapskate and looking for ways to not have to spend money.
Do you really think he would be using me just for that?
I can't say what Gary is thinking for sure, but I do know that ever since the business he tried to start failed, he's been asking for money from several people. And that's not even talking about the second business he tried to start after Dad died and Gary got his share of the inheritance. But that one was also over almost as soon as it started. I just don't know how he managed to make the same mistakes twice.
That's true, but Gary has a job now. And for a company that already exists, I think that he's really changed since getting married.
I really hope so. But just remember that you can tell him now. I know that you always want to be there for us when we need you, but it's okay to have your boundaries too.
Thank you very much, Sandy. It makes me happy to know that my daughter is thinking of me so much. Especially considering the fact that you must be so preoccupied with being pregnant.
Well, I just saw a doctor last week and he said that there was nothing to worry about. So don't you go worrying about me yet, okay, Mom? Anyways, I have to go to another appointment, so I'll talk to you later, okay?
Sounds good, Sandy. I hope the appointment goes well. I also have some housework that I need to attend to. I hope you get home safely.
Hey, Sandy, do you have a second to chat real quick?
Sure thing, Gary. What's on your mind? I feel like I don't usually hear from you.
Yeah, well, there's just something I wanted to talk to you about, if that's alright.
I'm sorry, Gary, but I don't have any money to give you.
That's not what I was talking about, and why do you automatically think that that's what I was gonna ask you about, huh?
Well, because 9 times out of 10, it usually is.
You really know how to grind my gears, you know that?
Well, you're already on thin ice with me since you basically forced Mom to take you in. I know that you're just taking advantage of how kind she is, Gary.
That's not fair! I have have a job and I'm not getting in anyone's way or trying to do anything.
So then you're contributing to paying for the groceries and utilities and things like that?
I mean, I am a bit, yeah.
A bit? What's that supposed to mean?
You asked if I was paying and I said I was. Jeez. If anything, you should be thanking me for moving in with Mom. You don't live anywhere near here and it's my wife and I who are looking after her now.
You're right, that does make me a little less nervous about Mom, although it does add its own anxieties about it too. And if I wasn't pregnant right now, I would be visiting home a lot more often. I want to see for myself that things are going well between everyone there.
I can't believe this. I can't believe that you're going after my wife now, too.
And just what is that supposed to mean?
Well, this is what I actually wanted to talk to you about. The truth is that Mom has been really bullying my wife, Eve.
What? No way! Mom would never ever do something like that.
I'm telling the truth. Why else would I be reaching out to you if it wasn't something that was really bugging me?
Well, I just can't see Mom being mean to anyone without reason. There's no way she's just bullying Eve.
I thought the same way. I had never even imagined that Mom had this side to her. But after we moved in, it was like watching a cute little dog that you've known for years get rabies or something.
Did you seriously just compare our mom to a dog with rabies?
You weren't here. You haven't seen all the things that I have. For example, just recently, you sent us that basket of fruit, right?
Yeah, I did. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, Mom told Eve that she wasn't allowed to have any.
But that doesn't make any sense. There was so much fruit, there's no way she could eat it all on her own.
She gave me a portion of it and then handed the rest to her neighbors. But Eve really likes the kind of grapes that were in that basket, and Mom knows that and didn't give her a single one.
Well, that's definitely odd, and it doesn't sound very nice. But I'm not sure I would call that bullying.
Well, that's one example of the many awful things that she's been treating Eve. Don't tell me that you're just gonna ignore it because it's Mom.
I didn't say that I was ignoring anything. But the mom that I know wouldn't do something like that unless she had a good reason to. I'm just confused is all.
But we've only ever seen the good side of Mom because we're her kids. The way she treats other people is just horrible, though. Are things not like that with you and your husband?
No, not really. I get along great with his parents, actually.
Well, that's probably just because you aren't actually living together like we are, right?
I'm not sure if that's the reason why. Anyways, I guess I can always just ask Mom herself about what she thinks about it all.
No, please don't do that.
What do you mean? I thought you were coming to me because you wanted help with Mom.
No, that's why I messaged you. I want to handle this by myself. I just wanted to know if you had any thoughts about what I could do to take care of this problem.
Are you sure you can handle something like that?
I think that if you were able to get involved, that Mom would start treating Eve even worse, and then that would be all your fault. Plus, Mom would just be mad at all of us if she found out that I came to you about all this.
Well, if that really happens, then I'll take your side and tell me what she's doing is wrong. But I just really can't accept that she's acting the way she is towards Eve for no reason. I just want to get to the bottom of this.
And do you think that if you ask Mom, she'll confess right away?
I think it's only fair that I hear Mom's version of events regarding this, don't you?
Ugh, I don't even know why I bothered coming to you for help with something like this. Just don't say anything about this to Mom at all, okay?
Wait, are you serious about all of this?
Look, you don't live at home anymore, so you don't know what it's like. All I'm asking is for you to keep your mouth shut about this for a little bit, okay?
I understand that, but you were the ones who asked if you could move back in. You realize that, right? And if Mom really is bullying Eve, I'm not exactly sure how much I'm gonna be able to do from here anyways.
I knew that I never should have said anything about this to you. I thought you might be able to help me, but I should have known that you would just take Mom's side on this no matter what. Just promise me that you're not gonna say anything about this to Mom, okay?
Hey, Gary, what is going on over there? I heard you kicked Mom out of her own house. What happened?
Of course I kicked her out after all that she's been doing.
Is this all about her not getting along with Eve?
She wasn't just not getting along, she was really bullying my wife.
Well, I went and asked Mom about it, and she said that she had no idea what you were talking about.
Well, of course she would say something like that to you.
I'm sorry, Gary, but is there any way that we can meet and talk about this in person? Because you can't just kick Mom out of her house and leave her with no place to stay. I mean, you were the ones who moved in with her in the first place.
Well, she should have thought about that before she treated Eve the way she did. If she couldn't see that this would result in her getting kicked out, then that's her problem. And I still can't believe that you're taking her side over ours in all this.
I really just think that you're taking this whole thing too far and that you're going to regret this.
Oh, really? Is that what you think? And just who am I going to end up regretting this? If anyone is regretting anything, it's probably Mom for all that she did to Eve. I mean, we're kind enough to move in with her and give her some company, and she treats us like crap.
Well, I offered to talk to Mom about this for you, didn't I? You didn't have to go and do something this drastic.
Wait a second, is Mom there with you right now?
She is, actually. After you kicked her out, she asked if I had any room for her at my place.
Well, fine then, you have Mom and she has a place to live, so everything is fine. And you said you get along with your in-laws, so I'm sure that they'll be happy to have her, right?
You really have no idea the mess that you've made for yourself, do you?
I don't see how you can say that when we're the ones with the house. Mom should be ashamed of herself for acting the way she was acting. I never want her to go near Eve ever again.
I see. So then there's really no way that we're all gonna be able to sit down and talk about this then?
I can't see that happening anytime soon now. But you should send someone down or come down yourself to get Mom stuff. And if you don't do it soon, we're just gonna throw it all away anyway.
You seriously need to stop acting like this, Gary. You literally kicked our Mom out of her own house. You don't even own the place where you're staying.
Well, I'm the oldest child, so this house is gonna be mine eventually anyway. I just hurried up the process is all. You don't have the right to tell me anything. Hey, Sandy, what the heck is going on? Why did your husband and some real estate agent guy just show up to my house?
I'm not sure what you mean. What seems to be the problem with that?
Well, the real estate agent guy was talking about the house being sold, but is that true? I had no idea about any of this, and I want answers.
Well, the owner of the house is Mom, right? So Mom can do whatever she wants with the house.
But my wife and I are living here. What the heck are we supposed to do?
Leave the house, probably. I mean, it's not like you can have any legal say in what can be done with the house anyways.
Well, sure, but Mom could have at least talked to us about this a little bit before going off and selling the place.
And just why should she have to talk to the people who stole her house from her in the first place?
But the only reason I kicked her out in the first place was because she was bullying Eve. I had a good reason to do what I did, and Mom doesn't.
Even if Mom was bullying Eve, you two are still gonna have to leave her house no matter what.
But why? That isn't fair at all! We didn't even do anything wrong!
It doesn't matter one way or the other. Mom owns the house and she can do what she likes with it. That's just how the law works. You tried to kick her out of her house, forgetting that she has the final say in what happens to it. If you were worried about your wife getting bullied, then you should have moved out and found a place to live.
But that still isn't fair! Why should Eve and I have to do anything when it was Mom who was acting the way she was?
Do you still not understand that you're asking the wrong person the wrong questions?
Okay, fine. Go ahead and tell Mom that she can move back in with Eve and I.
Are you serious? You really think that Mom is gonna come back after all this?
Tell her that we're willing to talk and work something out, and that maybe Eve and I took things a little far.
That is not going to be enough to get Mom to move back in with you.
And just what makes you say that, huh? I'm not asking for your opinion, I'm asking for you to pass a message on to Mom.
But you told me that I should just take Mom in and leave the house to you two. Besides, I already know that Mom wasn't doing any bullying of any kind.
And just what makes you say that, huh?
Because I know that instead, it was you and Eve who were bullying Mom this whole time.
Why would you say something like that? Do you have any proof of this at all?
Do I have any proof that you and Eve were bullying Mom? No, I do not. But Mom has plenty of it.
What do you mean?
I mean that you thought you would have had Mom wrapped around your finger and that she would let you get away with anything. You even made her pay for all the groceries and utilities, all while making her clean up the house by herself.
No, that isn't true, and you still haven't shown me any proof.
Oh, right, the proof. Well, you know how Mom is always looking forward to getting a new phone, right? Anyways, since she knows how to use them, she has plenty of recordings of you saying all kinds of horrible things to her. She showed them to me, and now I know all about how you've been treating her.
But I only said the things I said to her because she was so mean to Eve.
And do you have any proof of that, Gary?
No, I don't, but...
Well, then I guess I have no proof but to take Mom's word over yours, huh? If anything, the fact that you both are still living in Mom's house is all the proof that I need. That was always what you were after, wasn't it? That's why you wanted to move in, to kick Mom out?
Gosh, you're wrong! You don't even know what you're talking about!
Then why is it only after you realize that the house is being sold that you ask for Mom to come back and live with you two? Do you really think I wouldn't be able to see right through that? Well, Mom has no intention of letting you get away with this at all.
So then, she's really actually selling the house.
That's right. And that means that you two should start packing your things. You'll have until the end of the month until the place needs to be empty.
So, we don't even get a whole month?
I don't have all the details, I'm just telling you what Mom wanted me to pass on. And don't forget, you were the ones who accused her of all the things that she never really did.
Well, tell her that I'm really sorry for everything, okay?
So you admit to bullying her out of her own house?
Yes, it's true, but the truth is that I'm in some financial troubles right now.
I figured as much, actually. It was obvious when you were so intent on taking the house all for yourselves.
I know I shouldn't have done that, but I just thought that if I could use Mom to save some money that I could get myself out of the debt.
And you had to kick her out to do that? Well, now you've gone too far.
Why can't I reach Mom's phone? I just want to talk to her.
That's Mom's way of telling you that she wants nothing to do with you anymore.
Please, I'm her son. She has to talk to me.
You used Mom up until she couldn't stand it anymore. This is what you deserve.
Sandy, please, you know that I didn't want any of this to happen. So you have to tell Mom that I'm really sorry. I just need one more chance and some money.
I don't want anything to do with you either, so you can just save it, Gary. After that, Gary and Eve stayed in our mom's house as long as I could until they were finally forced out. My husband called in a favor with a friend who owned a moving company. Suddenly, there were 5 burly guys standing outside my mom's house, all taking Gary and Eve's things and stacking them up in the yard. They forced Gary and Eve to hire them, loaded up their boxes, and those two were never seen again. I heard later that Gary had declared bankruptcy and never heard from him again. My mom and I also made the effort to not keep up with any news regarding Gary and Eve. Not long after that, I finally gave birth and was really grateful to have my mom around the house to help out. We did end up finding her her own house, however, and she enjoys living alone again. Her new house is close enough that we can always go over and visit, and she's welcome at our place anytime.